Hello and welcome to Heartcast, where we'll become so overpowered that we can even fight back in our sleep. I'm Humphrey Erm.
And my name is Christian Claus.
Lifeline. Give me Archer and Armstrong Volume 5. Mission Improbable. Alright, here they tried something a bit different in this volume in terms of how they collected a story. I mean, okay. I think you realized that you didn't notice that it wasn't all Archer and Armstrong, right? Two of the issues were Bloodshot.
I did not. Nope.
So if you look down the actual covers, it starts with Archer and Armstrong.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same kind of covers too, so they fit like a theme.
That makes sense why some of them were drawn different as well, right? Like a different artist.
Yeah, because that's also the thing then. Consider this, these weren't released 1 month after each other. Right. So they were on the same month, so probably with 1 or 2 weeks at most in between.
Okay.
So the current artist on Bloodshot is doing the Bloodshot issues, and the current artist on Archer and Armstrong is doing Archer and Armstrong.
Right.
So, but I imagine you think this is the best way of setting it up by putting it into one of the volumes.
Yeah, exactly. This is better for a reader coming in afterwards. Especially afterwards. I mean, I guess while you're reading it monthly, I don't think it might make that much of a difference. I mean, I guess in the other, you get two issues per month. So yeah, I guess that might be kind of good.
Yeah, no, in the sense, you're getting kind of like a little quicker, I suppose. You get the second part a lot quicker and... So yeah, no, just thought I'd mention that in that sense, because I like the idea of keeping storylines together, not necessarily comics, but that's what I think is it might be interesting to, like generally, not to only do bundles of like one comic. Well, how would you call it? A comic character? Or how a series, I guess.
I guess, yeah. So like not just doing one series, but just also putting a series together if they had like one of these, like with Bloodshot and Archer and Armstrong. I like this. I like the way that they did it here, and I really wish, or I hope they do more like this.
Yeah, no, exactly, because it's, I think I mentioned before how I read, I collected, I think, the first 6 volumes of Spawn.
Yeah.
And there's so many tricky things with that one, with the what issues are shown there. Like there's one issue they can't show because of copyright stuff, so it's not in the volume.
Oh, Jesus.
And because there's a lot of copyrighted characters, and apparently that was too much.
At that point you just kind of think, all right, let's just redraw it or redo something with it. Because that's just ridiculous. You can't be like, oh, sorry, we couldn't clear the rights for this, so you don't get this. It's like if in a movie, then suddenly underneath, there's a music, but they then say, we wanted to put whatever number 1 pop song on here, but we couldn't clear the rights for it. So listen to this shitty cover instead.
Exactly. Now, it's like a lot of, it was very weird reading it. Like they also had to cut this Batman Spawn crossover. Because I guess also legal reasons. Yeah. Even though it was like an official thing, but I guess it's kind of like with DVD sales, that wasn't part of like writers' royalties or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or streaming.
Yeah, so you just get like this one, I guess, turn the page, okay, next issue, and he's like sewing his face together, Spawn, and it's like, Spawn, what happened? I gotta run in with a guy in a cape. And it's like, oh God, it's like, now again, as most crossovers are pointless, but it's like, come on.
I guess it does also make sense now when I'm reading, because I was kind of thinking, because they did this whole thing with read Archer and Armstrong volume or number 18 to see the epic Bloodshot versus Archer battle. I guess that kind of makes sense now to be like, oh yeah, remember there's a different issue coming out at the same time that has that tells you how we got here.
Exactly.
Also, before we continue, I just want to say I was right about so many things, Humphrey. But specifically to this situation, remember how we were talking about those Assassin's Creed looking guys?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're in this as well. So I was right. They are the servants to all the clan members.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Because how we were talking about like that they were some sort of like servants, and you were saying that they were just servants for the 1%ers.
Yeah, no, but you're right.
Or they were some sort of missionaries. Yeah, seeing that they were here too, I think I was right with the idea that they're kind of like this, overarching kind of team that is the servants for these sect members. I just wanted to point that out, because...
No, but you're absolutely right. Again, I never thought of it as an issue in a sense, and I guess it never was, but you're right about something being like the clarity of it. Like, is it or is it not?
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that all the sects have the same muscle, then, I guess. Like, where's their loyalty?
Yeah. Exactly. Maybe it's just a mercenary group, like you said, and they hire them. But I don't know. Yeah.
So, it's... but good. Let's put a point up for Chris here. Chris was right.
Yes.
For once.
Shut up.
No, but that's a fair point. I didn't even think about it this time either. But with those the master builders, they had them there.
Yep.
All right, and then we agreed that this was the best way of setting it up, so we don't get the half a story and then, I guess, the start of another story or a very short 2-issue arc, assuming they just have like 4 issues or 5 in this case with this issue 0.
Yeah.
So, but since I'm just going in order here with the question, what were your thoughts on the covers? Not the issue 0, since that's kind of more traditional, but like these like portraits.
Okay, well, you gotta. I think you gotta tell me the questions that you're gonna ask first, because I always skip the covers more or less.
Oh, okay. Well, in this case, it was just because they were kind of more interesting in a sense, like there was a theme going on.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just skip the covers. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible comic book reader.
No, but even with like the text, since they have speech balloons, I thought that might have grabbed you.
No, it didn't. I mean, I was just like, all right, let's go on to the next thing.
All right, then. Well, I mean, they're kind of pointless in some way. I mean, they're supposed to grab your attention in the comic book store. Yeah. And since you've already bought the volume, they don't really serve a purpose, I guess, besides maybe setting you up for the issue.
Exactly. So yeah, I usually, because there's so much filler stuff in between that I don't really take anyway. So I just kind of wait until panels start again, and then I check if it's a commercial for another thing.
Yes, like spoiler for something else.
Yeah, if they spoil something else, and then so I just kind of wait until more panels come, and then check if it's a spoiler, if it's something else, or if it's then continuing the story. So that's how I kind of read them. I guess obviously if I was reading them like comic to comic, like an actual issue form, it would be different.
Well, yeah, you'd see it like so you pick it up and like kind of look at it.
Yeah, I think I appreciate it more if I actually had it in my hand. But I think all these ads and all these in between stuff, it doesn't help much, because you just kind of. I mean, I like the inkings that they show.
The pages, yeah.
Yeah, but I think you could just add that all in the back. You know what I mean?
Which they kind of do. Like, they seem to have some specifics for the issues in question, and then at the end for like the volume, I guess, to make it a bit more worth it.
Yeah,
because I believe this is only in the digital edition, like that they have those. I don't think they waste, considering with actual paper, there's an actual cost.
Yeah.
So I think they actually don't have that in those.
Well, also I think those ads, like here we have the ad for Ray, which again I just skipped because I didn't want to, be spoiled or whatever for when we get to him.
We'll get there soon enough.
Yeah, exactly. But again, I think that an ad like that should be put on the back. I mean, obviously, I know that it won't be read as much if you put it in the back than if you put it in the middle.
I think you just answered your own question.
Yeah, I know, but it's just Can I also say that I want to applaud the? I guess this is an homage to John Woo. The gun fu and the doves flying around.
Oh, you mean in terms of when the Archer's doing it and it actually pops up with the captions?
Yeah, well, the gun fu is not necessarily him, but then the pigeon or the doves flying with the guns. And I mean, if this was a movie, I would just think it had to be in slow motion, all of this. And like, I mean, again, and the church and everything, it's very John Woo. But yeah.
No, it probably would be. I mean, considering also, at least, with the Bloodshot element, in terms of the action.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they did. But then kind of speaking, since that kind of like would segue into like the art. Oh, wait, actually, one last thing.
Okay.
So, no, yes, with the covers. Does Archer, like in that cover, doesn't he kind of look a little Simon Peggish? Or is that just me?
Scroll to it. I think I'm going into the wrong direction.
Yes, it's the first one, yeah.
No, actually, the first one is Bloodshot.
What? No, is it?
Yeah, the first one is Bloodshot. I was just.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I'm sorry. The second one, then.
Yes, he does look a lot like Simon Pegg.
So I guess we know who should play him.
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to do a lot of exercise and training, but.
Nah, we do to fix that in post. I mean, I saw Captain America. I saw Captain America First Avenger. I know. You can do it.
If you can make him thinner, then you can make him more muscular too.
That should be easier in a sense, shouldn't it? Because then you don't have things in the back that has to be, like replicated. You can actually. Anyways, yeah.
Just add on top.
Exactly. Anyways. Yeah, no, but then speaking on the art, as you were kind of discussing with the John Woo thing there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's an understandable concept here why they're switching artists, since it's two different series technically. So there's can't really be a complaint about it there, because it's like obviously one artist can't do the workload for 2 books.
Yeah.
But how did you feel like with the switching all the time? Was it distracting or?
Yeah, it was distracting.
You go from the smooth stuff from Pere Perez, I think it was.
Yeah, and then to Tom Rainey.
Yeah, and a little more goofy, like what's called rendered, I guess you could say.
I think I like to call this style webcomic style.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because there's some really good webcomic artists out there, like amazingly good webcomic artists. A lot of them I follow on Twitter and stuff like that, and they make just like these are the kind of artists who like are basically writing a comic book or like a graphic novel, and they're just publishing them 1 page at a time. But a lot of the art in here kind of feels like art that I would see in early Penny Arcade.
Really?
I mean, again, look, see, this is the thing, I'm going to say something that's like really offensive to artists out there, and you're just like, I can't believe that you'd say something like this. This is not.
Well, for all the pot shots I give writers, go ahead.
No, but I mean, I don't want to be unfair. I mean, obviously this is really hard, and I could never do anything like this. I mean, obviously that's not like the defining factor. So if something's good, if something's hard, mean that I can't do it. But especially seeing the juxtaposition between the first issue of this volume and then this issue, the second issue, it's just pretty harsh comparison. You know what I mean? It's just like, I mean, I also kind of feel somewhat bad for the artist who had to be put right next to this other guy. It's like if a veteran is next to an amateur, or not an amateur, but like a newbie kind of, and they're being put on the same level. And so I don't know. I mean, it was very, I mean, just to go from this like amazing art that like has, where everything is perfect, all the
very clean.
It's very clean. It's very comic book style. Like this is the kind of stuff that I expect when I pick up a comic book.
Yeah, but you mentioned that before. It's one of the reasons you have trouble with some older comics sometimes, because the overall art style is kind of not really your thing, not like what you expect.
Yeah, kind of, but I don't think it only has to do with like what I expect, because when I'm looking at the first issue here, I don't know. I mean, there's just a certain type of art style that I'm used to in American comic books, and the first issue is exactly that, and everything is proportionally correct. Nothing looks out of place. The action is correct. This looks like something someone has done that has a lot of experience in comics, knows how to do this stuff. and it's like second nature to them. Then when I go to the other one, there's immediately, like in the second page or third page of the comic, there's a thing that I don't feel, it doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? I can't really describe it because I'm kind of trying to see if it's like a proportion thing, and maybe it is, but...
No, but I can see what you mean. If you go like to page, let's see, what's it say, 75 of the PDF?
Yeah.
The second panel there, I do feel there's a kind of like an off thing with the perspective.
Well, I'm thinking more 76, the third panel there, where he's kicking the gun up.
Yes, he draws them very kind of squat, in a sense.
Yeah, it looks like he's small.
Yeah, well, it's kind of almost, and again, no offense to dwarves, like almost has kind of like dwarf proportions, but then scaled up.
Yeah.
So it happens a couple of times. So
exactly, it just feels kind of odd, and Armstrong also just feels very weird, and a lot of the facial expressions, especially if I'm looking at them, like scrolling through here, just seeing the fight then with Armstrong, like some of the facial expressions are very bland and very like, I don't know.
Not on Armstrong though.
No, not on Armstrong. No.
I mean, I was going to say I think he really sells Armstrong's disgustingness in a sense.
Yeah,
he goes from being like very clean, kind of like the same way Clayton Henry drew him in the first volume.
Yeah.
But here's like, there's all this extra rendering, really gives him some kind of like, he is a hairy, large slob.
Yeah, but even that, like, I mean, even that, and this is what I think is interesting is that I would, because on page 84, when Armstrong is chasing them in the little tiny car.
Yeah, that works, I feel.
Yeah, it works, but I mean, this is what I mean. That works. So why isn't this artist on Archer and Armstrong?
I actually had that as a point. It's almost like they should have switched artists.
Exactly. I mean, I don't want them to, because I think, obviously, from a genre's perspective, this kind of art could work better for a more comedic setting. But then again, Archer and Armstrong isn't actually that comedic. It's actually, there's comedy in it, but it's not a comedic, I wouldn't call it a comedic comic. There's way too much, like, dark stuff that they talk about and do in that show for it to be called a comedic comic. Did I just say show?
I know what you mean. I mean, they do take themselves seriously, but then they still have, like, I guess it's more of a, what would the word be? Not satire, but it's a lot more about the situation more than the execution, I guess.
Right.
It's not so much about funny faces. It's more about, oh, wow, we have a secret cabal of weird sects, and they all have weird themes, and...
Exactly. And so I think that artist would have suited better for the other one, and for Deadshot being such a, or Bloodshot being such a serious comic in that sense, I think the other artist would have been better on that. But
considering continue.
No, I don't have another point. I was just rambling.
So but considering then, because we're discussing the art in that sense and what fits, what's your thoughts then on? Because this is again, half of these stories are Bloodshot in that sense. Yeah, I mean, the series. How do you feel then when you have two? Because this is a crossover in a sense. Well, I mean, not in a sense it is. But how do you feel with taking, as you said, the more serious, so Bloodshot, and having them kind of, because it definitely is an Archer and Armstrong book. It's definitely smart that they collected it as an Archer and Armstrong Volume 5 rather than Volume 5 of Bloodshot.
Yeah, definitely.
But how do you feel like with the sudden silliness that the Bloodshot characters are kind of involved in now? Like, does that fit, or does it kind of feel like they're being written incorrectly or out of character in order to fit Archer and Armstrong, or?
No, I never felt like they were acting any more different. I mean, I didn't have that feeling. The whole thing when they were trying to get Armstrong drunk, or like try to give him the roofies and stuff like that. I didn't feel that was out of character necessarily. It was just the situation that they had and the best plan that they had for the situation, and they were acting on it. Otherwise, they did all seem very typical. I mean, they weren't making jokes necessarily. They were doing their mission, and they were reacting to the things that happened in the story. I don't even see how that question came up. It's just so I didn't recognize any kind of out of character moments at all.
All right. Yeah, no, I was kind of curious because it is kind of, I mean, I guess it's almost similar to any kind of like Deadpool crossover. You can put him into any kind of seriousness and he'll always, make everything goofy.
Yeah, of course.
So the idea here, that was just why I was wondering then, did you feel that it was, because I agree, I don't feel, because I mean, there is some levity in Bloodshot as well, if nothing else from like the bureaucratic stuff with Kosol and, and the one-liners and stuff like that. As well as just the whole ridiculousness of the recruits in that sense.
Yeah.
But, so there is, an element of humor involved, so it's not like totally out of place, but it's more about, I don't know, so just like her Granite, going on about, I love him, and like, just the way it's portrayed, this very humoristic, like, layout and stuff like that, what?
Yeah, I guess that was kind of weird, but then again, I didn't really know her that well before, so I never really knew what her character was in that sense. So that whole like I love him and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't like that stuff anyway, where it's just like that's the solution to the things. But yeah, especially if it's like a out of the blue kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's what's called. So I think we're in agreement then. So that's no.
One thing I do find interesting, and this is a real nitpick. Like, I mean,
oh, yeah?
This is the kind of nitpick that you're gonna moan at.
No, go ahead.
Because I'm not the kind of person who nitpicks like this. But it does show that they did really make these comics at the same time, because there's a continuity error between the end of volume. Wait. Oh God, I can't even remember. Let's see here. You go up here. End of volume or issue 19 of Archer and Armstrong, and then I guess issue 19 of Bloodshot. No, 21 of Bloodshot. He's operating at the moment, and the gas is coming in. Right.
I'm trying to get it right here now because
it's 123 on the PDF that we were looking at.
Right. Yeah, it got confusing because I was kind of like, wait, so where's issue 20? But it's like, right. Yeah, because it's 19 and 21 because it's different. Right. God, that first point where this got confusing.
Exactly.
So 23?
No, so yeah, 123 page.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's what. Yeah. Okay, yeah, the gas.
So yeah, he has the face mask and the hat and the scrubs and everything on.
Oh, and then he's passed out with none of it.
Yeah, when he's passed out, he doesn't have anything on. He has his normal.
But that's fair. On. That's fair. Again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it's that's something that could have been it's been accurate, I guess.
Yeah, but again, it kind of shows that they were drawing at the same time, and obviously they had to finish it. They probably were drawing at the same time. They had the script written, and it's like, okay, he's going to be doing the surgery, and probably in the surgery, it wasn't like in the script, it wasn't mentioned that he has to wear the scrubs, because it was never like talked about in the scene or in the dialogue. And then the other people just started drawing, and obviously, if you're at the end of the comic, and they're like, oh, the artist probably thought, oh, well, maybe I'll just draw him in scrubs so it works better, because he wouldn't be operating without a face mask. And then they didn't think about it on the other side, so yeah. But it's just interesting. I mean, I feel so bad for nitpicking on something like that, because that's not my way. I'm not a nerd like you, Humphrey.
No, that's more of, again, that's kind of like a classic sort of like film. I mean, that's like if this was CinemaSins. That's like one of the few actual like Ding. Sins. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And not that's stupid. That's not a sin.
No.
All right. No, but but I do like sometimes when people do point that stuff out, because it shows how unobservant one can be in a sense. Again, not that it matters in this case, but it's like, oh yeah.
Well, it's just, again, maybe it has the filmmaker in me is talking here, because these are the kind of stuff that you have to look out for.
So, yeah, not true. That's cool.
So on with the questions.
Yes. Well, next up on the list in that sense, not that they're always in the best order, but we get another issue 0. So we get 2 issue 0s for the same series.
Yep.
Archer and Armstrong issue 0 and Archer and Armstrong issue 0.
Yes.
So what do you think of Archer's backstory then? You know, we get quite a lot there now.
Yeah, it's good.
So it fits. It's not.
It's not what.
Yeah, no, it's nothing. You have no qualms with like motivations or the setup.
No, I think it works pretty well. I mean, we see a lot of very typical stuff. You know, someone's very gifted. Someone takes him away. They, you know, teach him the way. They think that he's all powerful and perfect, and they want to use him. And even the whole thing when he started going to that family, to the religious sect, and then started training there, and just having that bully again, and then having to fight back, and it's just all this stuff is just, it's so typical. Also the whole, when the dad then, like when he actually beats that guy, or I don't know if he kills him or just beats him into a pulp. It's just that typical thing where then the father's standing there going like, good, that's what we wanted to see. You know, it just felt like very, very much like either a superhero or a supervillain backstory.
Well, it is definitely very supervillainish in that sense.
Well, I mean, you always have these kind of like anti-heroes, I guess. I mean, I can't think of any right now, but, you know, the type, I mean, I guess Batman in some sense with Ra's al Ghul, if you want to see it like that. But yeah, it's a very typical thing where they kind of they have to do something bad and they get rewarded for doing the bad thing, and then, you know, and that's how their story starts, that tragic backstory starts. And then I was very, very happy because I kind of like hardcore. I mean, not just because it's our namesake, but I just like them. So that when that whole thing came up, then at the end of issue 0, when they turned around and hardcore was standing there, I was like, yeah, here we go. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, but that's something I actually pointed out in the questions here too. I do like that it does blend in very well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just like, oh, it's an extra issue. I mean, I guess it worked similarly with the last Archer and Armstrong issue 0, because it gave us the far away, and then, you know, they went to the far away. You know, like in terms, because it was the whole like Gilgamesh thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, but here, like, it's really, I mean, sure, you could work from just the Archer and Armstrong issue right after. You know, because they give you all the information in the beginning. But, you know, it does work very well like this. All right. No, I like it too. I mean, it's makes sense in that way with what's called with how he's like brainwashed in that sense. So when at the start of the series. So, but I gotta bring this up though, because this is something that I remember Valiant Effort brought up. So when they reviewed this volume.
Okay.
What's your thought then of Archer's power level, or so to speak? Like, is he too OP?
I think we've discussed this already.
I brought it up earlier, but I just wanted to see what your thoughts were then. Because I remember this would happen later, and it was also thanks to Valiant Effort that I was thinking of it. So, but what do you think now that he can actually copy Psiot powers? I mean, since he doesn't need Lifeline to do that, you know, so he can just...
Oh, yeah.
And he can save them now, too. So now he has basically all of these, you know, hardcore Psiot powers, all the ones he got to see.
Yeah.
So now he has all of that without having to have the Lifeline thing. And it seems to be relatively easy to use, too. Like, he didn't need any training or anything.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of like I wrote down here. So what would happen if you were to face off against Toyo Harada or something?
Oh, shit, yeah, you're right.
Because in that sense he would, unless he managed to somehow kill him immediately without them realizing. You know, he would then be able to get all of his powers, and then along with all these other Psiot powers.
Yeah, but the thing is, Toyo Harada is probably smart enough to know this before he goes into battle. I mean, I don't think Toyo Harada is the kind of guy who's just going to rush into battle with someone or even if he does, like, say he does something, and then, because the thing is, Archer is in some sense dumb enough to then use that power immediately. So if Toyohara does do something, and Archer would immediately do it back, and then I think Harada would immediately realize what happened, so he'll stop using his powers, and he'll find a different way to do it. And that's, this kind of power set has been used many times, right?
Well, again, the main one I can think of, there's been a lot of like characters who can steal powers and stuff like that. Taskmaster's what's called, I think, the equivalent in Marvel.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be limited to physical skills. Like, I don't think he can suddenly, like, if he's facing off against Cyclops, I don't think he can suddenly, fire beams from his eyes. But, so yeah, no, but that's what I mean. It's just, my question is more about, have we kind of lost some kind of like, not suspension of disbelief, I guess? Or actually, maybe, yeah, maybe that would be the term. But in terms of worrying about Archer at any point. Like,
no, I think there's a point where, obviously you have writers writing themselves in a corner. That happens so many times.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing is that you can hope that they have like a secret door behind them that they can get out of, that we just don't know about. We see them writing themselves in the corner, and then we're like, oh shit, how are they going to get it out? They're probably going to do something stupid. And they just like knock on the wall, and then a door opens, and you're like, oh, awesome, okay. And then it kind of makes a good, like, it's something that they knew was always there, but we didn't know. So it's kind of a nice surprise. It's something that works. It's just stupid when then they suddenly go like, no, we can walk over this writing. It's not a problem. That's the problem, when they kind of like go back on what they said. So I'm hoping that if they do come to a point where they have to fight, like there's like a big thing, let's say Archer goes evil and starts killing everyone, and they have to now actually beat him. There are other ways to do stuff that he can't copy. Like, he can't copy getting snipered in the head, So I'm kind of, and he can't copy, absolute manpower. If he has 100 people against him, he will fail at some point.
That's fair.
You keep throwing bodies at him, at some point he will fail.
I think
because he is just one person. If say the entire Harbinger group, hardcore, literally everyone in the entire Valiant universe comes and fights against him, he will lose.
Well, yeah, when you put it in that way, definitely. He's not a Meso. From Justice League.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, okay, yeah, no, it's just kind of quiet there. So yeah, no, definitely he's not he's not definitely not like a cosmic being, because those are usually the ones that are like that. But I think part of me, in terms of how it's portrayed within this volume, and overall, because it hasn't really been brought up as a point really before, but it's more about stamina. Because I just kind of feel like, because usually that would be the drawback, or like, the cost. Like, oh god, I don't know how long I can keep this up. But I never get that impression anywhere in this. He can go from sleep fighting, and then immediately learning how to use these, psioth powers, and then he locks himself in a surgery room, and he does surgery, and he keeps his breath for all this time, and when the gas comes in.
Yeah, but you also don't know, like, how much stamina he does have. Obviously he's a fully trained athlete, warrior, whatever. So
yeah. Well, definitely
they have a lot of stamina. So if he's trained for this, but that's what I mean is that's where we kind of need to see the limits of how he's doing. And also he has other limits, just characteristic limits.
Oh yeah. No, personality wise, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there are enough things that could basically beat him. Didn't those Nazi monks have this thing that made him stop?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact thing of what happened. It was something inside that room, I think, was the problem.
Was it just the room? I thought it was their minds. They did something with their minds.
Was that it? I can't remember now exactly.
Because honestly, that's the first thing that Toyohara would do.
I'll make a point to look that up. So what's it called, making up, so I can review it. But you're right. If there is a way to replicate that, or get another one of whatever did that, definitely that would be something. And Toyo Harada otherwise, if I can give like a small spoiler about the later series with Toyo Harada, he's like, and that's what I like about him, he's very smart. Like
exactly.
And because of like because he knows there's all these like anti-psyop things in terms of like both hardcore and other like tools and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's something, I think, I'm not sure if it has been already portrayed, but there's going to be sort of like what's called like a psychic EMP thing.
Okay.
So in order to combat that, he built a robot that is immune to things like that.
That's pretty cool.
That robot's always with him, and like, so should something happen where they can't use their psyop powers, then that robot will take care of it.
Nice.
Yeah, little things like that where kind of like. But I'll review and see exactly what happened in the temple with those Nazi monks. So those, or it's specifically Hitler monks too. I mean, they had a mustache.
Yeah, exactly. But I gotta say, man, Valiant. If anyone from Valiant is listening to this, which probably not, but still, are those T-shirts available?
Which ones?
The hardcore shirts.
Oh, the ones they have in here, like the uniforms?
Yeah, I really want to get one of those shirts.
Honestly, that would be a nice one, and those are always my favorite kinds of like merchandise. Like as much as I like
literally the whole thing.
Exactly.
Like the actual thing that they wear.
Exactly. Like it's. I mean, I don't mind having a shirt with a character's face on it or the logo or whatever. But when it's actually this is, it's like having an actual Star Trek uniform. Starfleet is like sure, you could have a shirt that says Star Trek on it or a picture of Spock. But like this is like the shirt,
Don't you have a Bloodshot shirt? But it's with Bloodshot on it, right? Like not just
it's
black with the circle.
Yeah, it's got the cover of the first issue from the 90s on it.
That's the one, yeah. You wore that in our comic where we took the pictures of ourselves.
Yeah. So between the frames.
Yeah, you made a point out of that. You were like, oh, I need to wear the Bloodshot shirt because you're all like, I need to represent Valiant.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I definitely want to get one of those hardcore shirts.
No, they have a store. Let's see if they have it there.
Oh, yeah, I'll check it out.
I know they have some bobbleheads and like caps and stuff, but I think it's just the typical kind of stuff as I mentioned. Yeah,
well, those kind of shirts are probably pretty hard to make just because they are very specific.
They'd have to be long sleeved, I guess.
Well, not only that, but I mean, there's I think if they would do something like that, they would do like that Captain America what's it called, the Aquaman shirt that I have, where it's an orange shirt, but then just like on the chest side, it has the printing of like if it was an Aquaman a chest piece. So that way they don't have to like print the entire side of the shirt with that scale thing. But it kind of looked like it, So maybe they would do something like that. They would kind of get a red shirt with the logo on the top and maybe a little bit of white. I don't know, but it'd be fun. It'd be cool.
No, but definitely, as well as the easiest.
Maybe if this podcast gets bigger, we can make specific ones like that or something like that. I don't know.
No, but you're right. And it's kind of like the cheapest one they could ever make is the what's called Archer shirt.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean,
you could probably get that at like Gap or something like that. Is Gap still a thing in America?
I think so.
I haven't been there for a while.
No, but same thing, and same with Bloodshot. It's a very simple kind of logo thing.
Yeah.
You just gotta make sure that it's just not like a white shirt then, because then it's just like, oh, it's nice. You like Japan?
Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting a little bit off topic. We're talking more about capitalism than anything else.
Merchandise.
Yeah. So let's continue with our little questions that you have here for me.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So, I mean, I have this kind of question here in that sense. Which one of the two series would you rather read first now, in a sense? Like let's say you were reading these as they were going on.
Yeah.
And kind of like, what's your, like, right now, like, oh, which one is your, like, kind of immediate, like, you want to see more of?
I honestly want to see more of... Well, I want to see more of Archer and Armstrong just because the art is better.
Okay, in that sense, all right.
I mean, it does do so much more. I'd probably be interested in Bloodshot. I mean, I'm kind of... Thing is, you've forced these comics on me so much that I've actually started enjoying it. So it's a kind of a type of a Stockholm syndrome that you've been doing here. No, I'm serious because I'm actually like really excited to read more of these comics, even the ones that I don't like that much.
Okay, well, you're just kind of part of it now. Like, for better or for worse, like, you want to know what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, we're doing this podcast, so it's not like I'm just reading it for my own amusement. It's kind of like a lot of the times at the beginning, I'm forcing myself to read them, and I'm like, oh, God, okay, all right, well, here we go, let's read this. And then I start reading it, and I actually start enjoying it. But like here, I mean, I want to know what happens in the future with Bloodshot and Hardcore. I mean, especially now that he's going to fight the Hardcore, which again, awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, that one for me that's the one, because it's, you know, the one with an actual clear
continuation.
Well, yeah, it's like a clear cliffhanger.
Yeah,
I mean, just like, you know, him going to the bathroom there, and then him in the background, like dun dun dun.
But even with Arch and Armstrong, it's just fun to kind of just spend time with them. But I gotta say, the art does do a huge thing.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, one should never definitely. As much as I like, you know, stories like about like from One, you know, the One Punch Man guy.
Yeah.
So as much as I love, you know, just to hear about a guy whose ideas are just so amazing that they captivate people even with his crappy art.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, especially considering they're like high concept stories, you know, that once an actual competent artist takes it, it becomes like amazing.
Yeah.
But as much as I like that, you know, you do need to have the art like match the tone and scope of your story.
Exactly.
I mean,
but then again, you know, this is also the difference there, where if I came across One Punch Man in its webcomic days, I'd be like, yeah, this is a webcomic. I'm not expecting it to be the best art.
Yeah, you're not paying anything or...
Yeah, this is a comic that I paid money for, you know? And this is the kind of thing where I kind of feel like, well, the art kind of has to reflect that. And I don't know, it as I said, it does feel very webcomic artisty, and I think I would check the next, if I was reading this for my own pleasure, like if I was just reading it for fun, I probably wouldn't. I would check how, like, if the same artist was still working on Bloodshot, and I probably wouldn't get it if it was. You know, so I mean, the same thing happened with Aquaman when they changed artists in the new.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, I wasn't really too happy with it. I mean, I just bought all the Aquaman comics that were like a back issue that I still didn't have yet. So I just kind of just bought all of them, and then suddenly the art changed, and I wasn't too happy with it. It looked very cartoony, and it's just like, this doesn't feel right.
No, but again, and that's the big. I mean, that's how it's done in these American comics.
Yeah.
So which again,
it's not. Yeah, it's just a thing that happens, and.
Yeah, no, I
mean, I guess the sales will always kind of speak for themselves, you know. I mean, I feel bad that an artist loses their job or doesn't get the next assignment or something like that, but you know, if their art doesn't speak to the masses and doesn't sell books, then you know, they have to find someone who will sell the books.
Oh no, definitely, but I don't know. I don't know how the specifics of how employment works in terms of comic book artists in America. Yeah. I'm assuming a lot of the time, considering there is a lot of work as one of those, in terms of like just using the big two in a sense. Yeah. I mean, think about the heyday with, you know, with the New 52 for DC. They had 52 ongoing series. I mean, I think they simply just can't get a hold of all, like, even if they had like the budget for it. I just don't think there was enough super awesome talent available for everything.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming it's just a freelance basis, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's just you get a contract for whatever, how many issues, and.
But here's one thing that I need to ask, because this is getting kind of confusing. Did the artist change in the last 3 pages of the comic?
I think so. If you look in the what's called, I was also thinking about that because it was a bit different. If you look at I'm looking at the credits page on 133.
Yeah.
And it does say art Tom Rainey, Joseph Cooper with Mark Pennington and Al Barrionuevo.
Okay.
So that's what's called 3 extra people. Or actually, did you mention how that worked like in screenplay writing with how you like how you write it in a sense.
Yeah,
because it's like comma and then
an ampersand.
Yeah, but like it's like Tom Raimi as the main artist, or Raimi.
Or are you on the beginning?
Yeah, 133. So our story so far, and then at the bottom we get like a detailed credits list.
Oh yeah. Okay, so yeah, that probably is. Wow. Seeing that they also I don't know what the difference is between the comma and the with and the and, because I thought that now that when I just heard you read it, I thought that they were just going to say like Joseph Cooper with Mark Pennington, and then the and would be like a like this was the penciler, the inker, and the colorer. But then they also have by color art. They also have two people. So that's why I'm kind of wondering if maybe I don't know how it works. I just know that in screenplay writing, if you write them, I think with and, that means like if you write, like for example with me, Christian Claus and Humphrey Erm with an A and D, then that means that we worked separate from each other, so that I was hired first and then you. And then if we do it the other way with an ampersand, that means that we're a team. Like we are a writing team. So that's why you see like a difference. Like you could actually see like two people with an ampersand and then an and then two other people with an ampersand between them, meaning that there's two writers' teams came in, stuff like that. So yeah, it might be the other way around. I'm not sure. I haven't checked it for a while.
All right, no,
but yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, but then that's definitely it, because you're definitely right, especially that page 153 in the PDF.
Yeah,
I mean that bloodshot there is totally different.
Yeah, it looks so much better though.
So, well, is this cleanness, as you mentioned, sort of?
Yeah, because I kind of think that this was kind of like a preview of the next comic.
Oh, I'm curious. Let's make a point of that. Well, not a point, I guess, but yeah, I mean, we'll double check when we get to volume 6. No, volume 5. Right. Volume 5 of Bloodshot.
You're getting confused again, man.
Yeah, well, now it became confusing because this is volume 5 of Archer and Armstrong, and then
right.
But I gotta say, looking at the one panel that actually really makes it look different, I feel, is the third panel on that page. What's called Charlie Palmer's, his nose in particular, like his face.
Yeah, even his chin is just completely different.
It's like very different. It reminds me a bit of, I can't remember the name now. I think Ed Brubaker? No, I can't remember his name, but he's the guy who did, do you remember that animated film, Superman, Batman, Public Enemies?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
that was a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. And the art there was based on the artist who did that arc. And I can't remember his name now, but he kind of had that kind of like chin way of drawing chins.
Yeah.
And kind of like the lips, they always had this kind of, not a pout, but kind of like, this kind of, I'm serious. All right.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like this also has a very, like you just said, a very clean art style, so I think this could be very easily translated into an animated film.
Well, actually, you're right. I mean, this would be kind of like those, like, what's called Hulk Versus or something like that.
Yeah, like the whole 75th anniversary collection set of DC that I have.
Yeah, just a simple thing, you just don't make a big deal of it. Don't treat it like it's the end all be all of of these characters. Just like, no, this is just
which by the way, why hasn't Valiant gone to this market?
I don't know. Honestly, I think we discussed a bit with like Netflix, I mean,
yeah, but that was like live TV shows. I mean, I'm talking about
but animated, yeah.
Why don't they do animated stuff?
Again, I'm not sure, because it's honestly, I mean, you and me were part of that cartoon springboard thing, so we kind of got a bit of an insight into the business side of animation. And I'm not quite sure, exactly where all the money's being made sometimes with these things. You know what I mean? In terms of, I mean, and that's like ignoring piracy, in terms of, people aren't paying for it.
Right.
But DVD sales are down anyway, so I'm not sure it would be really worth for them to even make, even as a low budget kind of film. I'm not sure if it would be worth it really to, to make like a DVD and have like a TV screening of it in a sense on some channel. honestly think like maybe just Netflix would be something, and then the question is who would care. No offense to Valiant, I love it, but
no, I understand. I mean, but that's what I mean. Like Saturday morning cartoons, you know.
Oh, that definitely. I'm telling you, I've had in my mind imagined like all these '90s versions.
Yeah.
Like I recreated in my mind what's called the Harbinger as the X-Men intro.
Exactly.
You know, with Harada as Magneto, and then what's called
that should be your next mashup that you're gonna do.
I wanted to do it, but I just don't have the art skills, I feel, to make it look correct. Like I can make it, but it would feel not genuine in some sense. Like,
okay, yeah.
You know, it would feel a little bit too flat, because I think that's what I work better with.
Yeah.
So, though I have wanted to do something a little bit more stylized. I wanted to do like a Quantum and Woody one. So kind of like the Boondocks, because I always thought that would be an awesome style for them. Obviously.
Yeah, sure.
So, but yeah, anyways, but just in my mind. I also had like this one for Exo Manowar. We kind of going off a tangent here, but
yeah, we are.
But I just kind of can see Exo Manowar as this kind of like classic kind of late '80s, early '90s thing. You know, before Batman animated series came out, so they were still drawn in that kind of like overly detailed way.
Yeah.
And the intro would be something. So, born a king, so he was ransacked from time by aliens, you know, just using clips from the pilot.
Right.
So, and then as they kind of get to the point, stealing a powerful armor, you know, magic armor or whatever. So he is now Exo Manowar, and then just clips from the episodes. But it's kind of like, but that's the thing, and that's, I think, the reason why DC had such a great hold in the 90s, besides the movies, the Batman movies.
Mm.
And cartoons are the best way. I always think back to this quote from Vincent Price. He always purposefully went to make these like kids shows and stuff, because he knew that way he would make future fans when they're adults.
Yeah, definitely.
So he's like, yeah, no, I mean, these 8-year-olds who are gonna love me hosting this thing or playing this part, they're going to grow up and be like, hey, Vincent Price.
Right.
And, I mean, it sounds a bit cynical.
Isn't that kind of... Yeah, no, but isn't that kind of what happened? I mean, why do you think there are so many superhero movies out now? Or why the Power Rangers? The Power Rangers are having a big fucking movie come out this weekend.
Mm.
You know, or it's already out, actually. It's like... This is... Because all the 90s kids are now in an age where they can start making decisions about, like... You know, or where they're kind of starting to push things. I mean, these are the people who grew up on this are now becoming the screenwriters and the movie producers and stuff like that.
And the consumer. They're the ones with the money now.
Right. And so that's I think that's awesome. And I think kind of, sadly Valiant didn't jump on that, and now they're trying to kind of jump the gun by making the movies, which I really hope is going to be good, but I'm not too sure it will be. I really hope, but I think it's going to be dead on arrival.
Again, it's one of those things, it's... Like, this is my kind of cynical but realistic expectation. I think they're going to be good, but they're not going to get the mainstream attention.
Yeah,
I think especially as fans, we're going to be like, awesome, that's exactly how I want to see Bloodshot special effects done, and...
Yeah.
This was a fair way of doing it. Like, I get that they didn't want to, that they skipped this part in this case, but that they did it this way, and I think it'll be very good films. You know, if they're the best superhero films, I don't know, but they're going to be good. They're definitely satisfying enough for the fans. And nothing wrong with them either, but I don't think there'll be this, where people are going to be like, oh God, did you see Bloodshot? Like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, dude, what would my psionic power be? You know that kind of... No, but you know what I mean? I'm having trouble...
Yeah.
But then it's also, I wouldn't want to tell them to give up, because we're all about, oh man, people are only rehashing the same old things. I would love for Valiant to really be another thing people are excited about.
Yeah, you never know. Like, you never know what people are going to like or what they're going to enjoy. So yeah, just go for it. I mean, I want it to be a success. I want it to be good. So yeah, let's just see what happens then when it comes out in 2020 or whatever, when it comes out.
Well, again, from what I've understood now, and I think this is because of the latest Oscars that they changed it up. They're changing the order now, so we're going to get Harbinger first, and then Bloodshot.
What did the Oscars have to do with anything?
The writer for Arrival. Do you ever see that? Or
no.
So did it win an Oscar for writing or something, or?
I don't follow that at all.
Okay, but it went really well at least, and that writer is writing Harbinger.
Oh, okay. So they're going to kind of push that publicity.
I think so. I mean, anything will help, you know, if they can have, like, from the writer of the Oscar-winning Arrival or whatever it was.
Yeah, arriving now from the Oscar-winning writer of Arrival.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
cool.
and again, that's fair. But apparently, then because that was supposed to come later, they have to wait until 2018.
They have to rewrite.
Yeah, because that's I don't know. It's like.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, it's too bad though, because 2017 was supposed to be like this. I mean, it's still going to be a big superhero year, but that was just kind of like, oh my god, and then we get the third player in there.
Right.
You know, like facing off against the big two.
I just love it how like Justice League is going to come out, and then the Avengers is going to come out, and then there's just Harbinger, like the tiny kid on the playground, just like, hi guys, I want to play too. And then these two like muscled up beefcakes are just like, get out of here, this is our territory.
No, poor Valiant.
Yeah. Poor Valiant, yeah.
So, I don't know. So, but yeah, very looking forward to anything like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, again, we have
that web show to look forward to first.
Exactly. I was trying to think through now because you told me about the whole Quantum and Woody thing as well. Like, who was making that?
I don't know. I just retweeted it.
I'll have to double check then, just to see. But we got that.
There's a TV show coming out. Quantum and Woody TV show coming out.
So yeah.
And I made sure that it was a TV show this time, not just a series. That I thought.
Oh, you mean like the X-O
last time? Yeah, like I was like all like excited about an X-O Manowar TV show, and then it's just like no, just a new series. But yeah, there's actually a Quantum and Woody TV show coming out, or being produced, or whatever.
So yeah, well, that's always the problem. I mean, we hear things so early on now that is like, oh, it won't be until next year or 2 years or whatever. As well as the Dr. Mirage thing I mentioned. So yeah, no, I mean, again, they're testing the waters. But honestly, again, as you said, you know, animation definitely something they should try for. Because again, kids...
Says two nerdy guys who have no experience in business.
Well, again, from the business side, I can't say. Like I said, you know, I'm sure there's not an easy way of making money specifically.
Basically, all we're saying is that we want to see an animated TV show or an animated movie of the Valiant universe. That's all we're saying. We're not saying like, hey, Valiant, go do this, because we know better. It's going to be a good financial suggestion that we're making here. So, you know.
No, but exactly. No, but it's like I mentioned with the old Vincent Price thing. That's the whole thing, though. Get these kids now who will then, you know, maybe even get kind of like the teens, kind of like the tween thing, who they want to go into the whole PG-13 kind of action film.
Yeah.
So, but who knows? We'll see. So
whatever happens, Valiant, just make those awesome hardcore shirts. Exactly. Have at least one customer.
Exactly. I wouldn't mind having one either. So
awesome.
So if nothing else, an Archer shirt. Though I guess it's easy enough to make myself. Yeah, no, that's it. So we just kind of went on a tirade there or tangent, but it was fun. So genuine enthusiasm for I guess other media regarding
and even actual enthusiasm coming from me.
Yay!
Like I'm actually enthusiastic about this.
Awesome.
Valiant.
Awesome. Well, that was the 27th episode of a Hardcast, detailing Archer and Armstrong Volume 5. For more content from me and Chris, follow us on Twitter at Humphrey_Aram and at Christian D. Claus. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or listen to us directly on valianthardcast.podbean.com. And remember to like us on facebook.com/valianthardcast. Catch us later for our next episode discussing Eternal Warrior Volume 2, Eternal Emperor.
That's the one that I already read.
Exactly. But now we actually get to read it. Or actually